This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Let's rock it. Good morning, boys and girls. Yes, sir. It is time to have a little fun. We're out here at Craig Zinn's, Acura, Pembroke Pines, the finest Acura dealership on the planet. So come on out here and enjoy, have fun, get a great deal on an automobile, whether you're buying or leasing. We'll be out here for a couple of hours, and obviously a lot of things to talk about in the world of local sports, national. Got some events that are going to affect worldwide. We'll get into that also on the program. We got multiple shows today. We'll be here for a couple of hours, and then we'll head off to Hialeah Park. We're out here at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. You see it right here under me, right on the little block. And we'll be out here till 11. And as always, they are ready to make you a great deal on an automobile. So come visit my guys out here, Larry Schlossberg and Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone, just some amazing people taking care of you at Craig Zinn's, Acura, Pembroke Pines. All right, so last night, I'm on the air, right? I'm doing my show on Sirius while I'm watching the Hawks and the Heat. And I'm watching, obviously, Trae Young put on a freaking show last night. Although I was in a commercial break during the halftime, and then Craig gets interviewed by, I forgot which, was it, I think Jax that interviews him at halftime. And they're asking, and Jax goes, well, Trae Young killing you, with a lot of free throws, getting into the paint. He has 10 free throws already in the first half. What do you got to do? And he goes, well, there's some things we can do to maybe limit that and eliminate half of that if he tries it again in this half. And within the first minute, he hits a three-pointer that becomes a 4-point play because they fouled him. And you guys saw it. Those of you that care, you saw it last night. Trae Young goes 8 of 15 from three-point range, 50 points last night for Trae Young. I mean, he was all over it. And look, the real issue here with the Miami Heat is that probably, the reality is that they peaked in November and December after 24-8. Okay? Now, here's where some of you, look, man, go listen to Intercom and go listen to 560 and 790. They don't have to, they can't question too much because, of course, their bosses will get pissed. But we don't do that here. We don't have to play the politics. Not that I've ever played politics whenever I did work there or anything. So listen, bottom line is, if you're going to enjoy the 24-8 and be impressed with that and think that they're great and that they're a top 2, top 3 seed, they're 11-12 since 24-8. Okay? I'm not great at math. He is. I'm not. Once there was letters involved, I wanted no part of math. But I can add and subtract. That's 23 games of mediocre play. Okay? And please don't tell me that they got new guys and they're trying to get acclimated. Some guy yesterday goes to me, well, they're missing Tyler Hero. And I'm like, dude, if you need Tyler Hero to beat the Atlanta Hawks, then let's just wrap up the season. Okay? It's over. Let's call it a wrap. I mean, look, in the end, they're kind of becoming what I thought they would be. A 7-8 seed, a first-round exit. Maybe they don't fall all the way far down to 7 or 8 because they won so many early on and they put themselves in this position. Kind of like, remember when the Panthers got that one season a couple years ago when they got to the playoffs and they had the 12-game winning streak? That's what they lived on. That was the difference in their entire season. And for the Heat, 24-8 was fine at the beginning, but now you're 11-12 in your last 23. So if you're 11-12 in your last 23, then it shows how mediocre you are. And during those 23 games, you've had healthy lineups. You have had guys out. Look, at the beginning of the year, they were beating people without Jimmy Butler. You know what I'm saying? So excuses are for losers. All right? The Heat is going to have a good season. That's all. But let's be honest now. They are not going to have the kind of season that we were thinking early on at 24-8 when I was sitting there going, wow, they're a lot better than I thought they were. Actually, they're not. Actually, they're maybe slightly better than I thought they were. That instead of a 7 or 8 seed, they'll probably end up at 5 or 6. That's probably what's going to end up because while other teams have gotten better and have found their groove, the Miami Heat has regressed. And they're adding talent. You know, and it's funny because, what was it, yesterday there was a soundbite floating around from Pat Riley talking about how, I saw it here on Ira Winderman's column, and Pat Riley, and it's humorous to, but this is the way you've got to think inside that building. But Pat Riley basically came out to say, well, you know, people don't think we can win a title. Hell no, you can't win a title. Come on, Pat. Give me a break. I get it. You want to play the underdog card, and you want to try to motivate your players. You see what they're thinking about you. They think you're not that good. Well, we don't have to think it. We're watching it. Okay? We don't have to think it, Pat. The team is displaying it. They're 11-12 in their last 23. But don't worry. It's kind of like the Panthers. They play the Cavs in the next 2 games. So they can beat the Cavs, and then all of a sudden you can feel good about yourself a little bit better and say, no, you see they're back on track. No, they're not back on track. They're just playing terrible teams. That's kind of like the Panthers. You already know what the Panthers are. But you know that during the schedule, there's a couple of mediocre teams, and they've done a decent job of beating some of these mediocre teams. You know, and coming out, you know, the last couple games they were winning, and then now they lost again last night. They've got, obviously, Vegas coming up. We'll see how they do. But it's kind of like what it is. Even when a couple of weeks ago when the Cats were on a nice little roll and they were winning some games, if you really looked at that stretch, there were a lot of bad teams they were beating. So it wasn't that they were turning some corner or anything like that. We got to see things for what they are, okay? And it's been a terrific Heat season. Bam Adebayo has developed into an all-star, okay? Tyler Hero has proven to be well worth the first-round pick. Duncan Robinson is showing you that he can be one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, right? I mean, there's a lot of little positives that are going on with the team. But in the end, you know, Jimmy Butler is not a number one. So he has done an awesome job, and I love what Jimmy's done because it's been so intelligent the way he has gone about this. in raising the level of play of everybody else. And he didn't come in with the attitude of, well, I got to score 35 points a night in order for this team to be better, because it would not. They would be worse right now if Jimmy became the hog and became the guy that's got to take all the shots. But to his credit, he has been the smart guy in getting everybody else involved. But if you like yesterday, he's 6 of 18. Yeah, he scored 17 points, but it's on 18 shots. That's not impressive. You understand that, right? Now, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, a block. There you go. That's kind of where he balances it out. But he's not the guy that you want as a volume shooter. You got to remember, Jimmy Butler is an all-star, not a superstar, not a number one player, none of that stuff. He's your number one player here because this is our team and he's the veteran on it. But he's not the guy that can carry a team. That's not who he is. And to his credit, he hasn't acted like that. He hasn't played like that. He hasn't thought about that. He has actually attacked it the perfect way. But having said all that, we're now finding out what this team is. You know, they're going to have a nice season. It's going to be a solid season. You're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win somewhere in the neighborhood of 45, 47 games, something like that. And it's probably a first-round exit for them. Because eventually, at the pace they're at, I expect Philadelphia to get better because they're too stinking talented not to. They have too much experience already at this point that they will end up probably passing the Heat. And then Miami starts to drop, and then maybe it's 5 or 6. We'll see. But I just, right now, I have to look at what you've done for 23 games. Not 1 or 2, not 5, not 10. This isn't a bad little stretch. They have lost, I don't know if you know this, but the Miami Heat have lost 5 of 6 and 6 of 9. So not only are you 11 and 12 in your last 23, you're 3 and 6 in your last 9. You're 1 and 5 in your last 6. Do you understand that, right? You go 24 and 8, 11 and 12, 3 and 6, 1 and 5. Is that called progressively worse? I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm looking at it. The one win, Golden State, who has 12.
Right. And you lost to a team that has what, 17 now?
Yeah, that would be Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay, and you know what? I watched the league. Atlanta's deceiving. They're better than that. John Collins had the suspension, which threw off his season. Trae Young's had injuries. Werder's had injuries, and you saw Werder yesterday, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He's a nice player, okay? I have him on my fantasy team. So that's why I'm telling you that they're a little better than even their record because they're now a little healthier, but you're still better, Miami. You have better talent overall. You have deeper talent overall. You don't need Tyler Hero to beat him. You don't need Myers Leonard to beat him. I'm sorry. If you do, then you're really not that. This is why you're 1 and 5 in your last 6. This is why you're 3 and 6 in your last 9. And this is why overall you're 11 and 12 in your last 23. That's it. Got to be brutal, man. Hey, listen, you want to hear the reality? If you want to hear fluff, you go to 790 and 560. They have no choice. They work for Intercom. Okay? That's the way they do things at Intercom. Fluff radio at its finest. You want to do that? That's fine. We got balls here. We will call it like we see it. That's the way it is. That's the reality. So when Pat Riley is quoted and it says, if you listen to all the prognosticators out there, everybody who's predicting who's going to win, when you're going to place what position you're going to be in, either in the conference, the truth is nobody believes in us. Why should they? I'm not exactly sure, Pat. I love you, brother. You've done a really good job of turning it around and getting rid of the bad contracts. But let's not get ridiculous here. Let's not get silly here. There's no proof that this team has a championship. Are you kidding me? All I want from the Heat, okay, the ultimate prize for the Heat this season, second round playoffs. That's it. That's all. I get second round playoffs from the Heat. They overachieved and they had a great year. They get to the first round and get eliminated. Solid year. This is what they were supposed to do. That's all. That's what I expected. Playoffs, out in the first round. I'm good with that because that's probably what their talent is. I thought I was dead ass wrong at 24-8. Now 11-12, 3-6, 1-5. No, I think I know where I'm at now. I think I know where I'm at. And I think I know who you are now. You know? We have to be fair. You go overboard on 24-8 and you think they're great, well, then we also have to show the reality of 11-12. That's all. And it's not a Spo thing. It's not a Jimmy thing. It's not an Adebayo thing. It's not a Goran Dragic thing. No. It's just this is who they are. And the second part to all of this is I talked about this throughout the offseason, that the Jimmy Butler move will prove to be a really good move if you can add another star. So now the race becomes this, because let me explain something. When they have cap space in 2021, Jimmy Butler will no longer be an all-star. He will be a player that is running down and running out of gas because he has the rest of this year around in the playoffs, then all of next year, maybe around, I don't know, 2 in the playoffs, and then you have your space for your star. Let me tell you something. It better be Giannis. It better be a superstar. And then here's the other part of this race. What's the next step for Bam Adebayo? Can Bam become a perennial all-star? Are we talking about any superstar in him? It's the part we don't know yet, right? We know he's super gifted. He has refined it to the point that he is an all-star now. Now, an all-star doesn't make you a perennial all-star. But that's up to him now to kind of establish himself that. And can he get the three-point game going? How much more can he improve his outside? Those kind of things. How much can he improve more his craftiness around the rim, which he's already, I think, pretty crafty as it is. But, I mean, there's a lot of things to love about Bam. So if you're the Miami Heat and you can't land that star in 2021, and I'm talking about star, it can't be another Jimmy Butler. That's not good enough. Has to be better than Jimmy Butler. Let me explain something to you. When you had the big three, does Jimmy equal any of those guys? No. Not at all. Because he's a notch under those guys. So that's what you got to sign. That's what you got to trade for. That's what you got to find. That's what you got to acquire. And that's the race. That's the second part of all of this. And that's where you justify that Jimmy Butler signing. Now, the Jimmy Butler signing helps you with your young guys too. So the investment has been worth that. But if we're talking about title, it's what I said throughout the offseason. The Jimmy Butler move is only going to mean something for a title if you're able to get another star within the first 2 years. You failed this year to get that other star. If you don't get it next year, by the time you add him in 2021, you no longer have 2 stars. Your second star might be Bam. Probably is going to be Bam. It's not going to be Jimmy anymore. I mean, you see him every day. You see how he's a little worn down. you see he gets tweaked, and he tweaks this, tweaks that, and he's got mileage on him, and you get to see him every day now, and you know that he's not a great scorer. He's just not. And when he's scoring points for you, it takes volume amounts of baskets, which efficiency is not necessarily his forte. And that's because he's never been a great shooter. Never will be a great shooter because he is what he is. You know what I mean? And look, I don't want to even make this sound like it's a Jimmy Butler bashing segment or anything like that, because it's not. He's done a great job. Like I started in this whole thing. It's been fantastic. He really has. But he is what he is. We have to be, again, we will give you the honesty that you need here on this program. Okay? You're not going to get it anywhere else because they can't. So this is what it is with them right now. And that's where this race now in the next year is to find out what else can you do without the cap space, without a ton of inventory to trade. Now on draft night, they will be able to move their first round pick. So it'll be interesting to see what they can add. And if a Bradley Beal that's been talked about is a possibility, which would be really cool if you can get a Bradley Beal before you go and try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it's an interesting dynamic that the Miami Heat is in right now. All right, 888-623-3646. If you want to get in on the show, that's 888-623-3646. That's the accidentlawfirm.com text line. You see it right there? Oh, do we have it there? No, we only have the address. But anyway, I told you. accidentlawfirm.com text line. We're at Craig's Inn, Acura, Pembroke Pines. Let's see what we do here. What do we got? Any nice Jeeps for sale? I'm sure they have Jeeps here. You got to come on by. Go on the website, and they will have the inventory sometimes. No, not sometimes. They have the inventory online, and you can check it out there. Good morning, fellas. It's a Double Dose Friday up in here. You know it, baby. We go to 11, which, by the way, I forgot to tell you, at 10:30, Mike Mitchell, who covers the XFL for XFL News Hub, will join us at 10:30. So, looking forward to that. Let's see. Eric Echevarria says, good morning, O. Do your thing today and make it count, brother. We do, man, every day, bro. Every day, every day. I'm not blaming in no way, but Jimmy to me at times is just looks like a jag out there. Well, because, no, Ian, it's not that he's a jag. It's that he's not a great scorer. And so that hurts him in his look. Because he's really not the guy that you want taking clutch shots every day. Can he hit a clutch shot or two? Yes, he can. If you put him all the time to do it, you're going to fail more often than not because that's what he is. But, yeah, remember, he's a complimentary guy. Jimmy Butler on a great team should be your number 3. And remember, when we had the big 3 here, I could argue that I'd rather have Ray Allen as my 4th than Jimmy Butler. Okay? Right? Because Jimmy Butler's certainly not Chris Bosh, and forget about Wade and James. You know? So it's not, again, I don't want to make it sound like a bash Jimmy fest, but this is why I told people all throughout the offseason the Jimmy Butler move will only mean something if you add another superstar to it. Did I not repeat that over and over and over again all throughout the offseason?
Right from day one when we got him.
From the second they got him.
Yeah, if this is going to do anything, you have to add another piece.
Yep.
And he has at least slide to 2.
And I get it. The butthurt Heat fans are, oh, you're just being negative. No, dude, I'm being honest.
Look,
if you can't handle the freaking honesty, don't tune in, man.
Let's talk about it. Look, Jimmy is a grunt, a worker.
Blue collar.
Okay? Yes.
Lunch pail guy.
And this deck was stacked that he always never Division One, any of that, and worked and became. And Thibodeau's defense and a beast.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And those 4 or 5 years, you
Right,
see the wear and tear.
But but not only that, he was in the right role. He wasn't the lead guy. He was kind of the complimentary guy, the defensive guy, all those things.
Kind of on the fringe and would make a play.
But he's had a lot of mileage already at this point.
And he played hard.
He always plays hard. Still plays hard.
Yeah.
Still plays hard.
Gets in there. Wants to be physical.
Yep.
He's old school.
Big O, what date are you coming to Port St. Lucie for the Marlins at Mets? I'm not a baseball fan, but would like to see you in person again. I work just 3 blocks from where the Mets Stadium. If I'm correct, let me check my texts so I can tell you. Let me see here. Let me make sure. March 3rd is Marlins and Mets. I am trying to say it's not confirmed yet on that one, but I will tell you this. The other one that is confirmed, where is it already? March 16th is already set. We will be at Roger Dean broadcasting live out there, and we'll be at 9 a.m. we'll be on because we have to be off by baseball rules at 1 o'clock. So we normally do it till 3, and I asked them, can I stay broadcasting? And they go, no, you can't. You got to end at 1. So by rules, so that means we're going to start earlier that day. So the 16th, we'll start at 9 a.m. and finish at 1. So, yeah, that's right, Bill. We get to drive to Jupiter, and we have to be ready to be on the air by 9 a.m. So that's we leave like at 6 a.m. from the house.
No, we don't.
Yeah, 6 a.m.
Probably 5:30.
No, dude, there's no traffic at 6 a.m. You'll be fine. You'll make it in an hour. You'll make it in an hour. You'll be fine.
You're not the one that has to set up all this wonderfulness.
No, I get it, but well, I gotta help out. All right, what up, Big O from George Arthur? I'm a new listener. I'm also a Finns fan from Vegas. I got to say the show is great. Love you. Thank you, George. Appreciate you. And I'll see you at Tommy Rockers, George. We'll be broadcasting for 3 straight days out there at Tommy Rockers. Can't wait to do the draft, man.
Actually, probably more than that,
Well, no, but the draft, I'm saying.
The draft will be the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 23rd to the 25th, but more than likely,
we'll be at Tommy Rockers throughout the week.
Yeah, Monday, we're going to be doing our show from there.
Yep. I'm with you.
That is our home.
Yep. And George says, I love hearing your take on sports. Keep it going, brother. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate you. Big O in the morning with coffee. There you go, FinFan70. I appreciate you. Sneak Attack 305 says, good morning, O. Looking forward to being at the Heat's house to see Wade's jersey in the rafters. Heat need to get back in the win column, starting with the Cavs tomorrow. Stop losing to bad teams. Yeah, well, brother, if they lose to the Cavs, come on, man. The Heat picked a perfect game to lift the jersey, the Cavs. It's like a homecoming game. It's like what you remember in high school, your homecoming game was always set against the worst team on your schedule because you didn't want to ruin the night with a bad loss, right? So you wanted to make sure you won on homecoming night. That's kind of what the Heat did, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man, to celebrate Wade, everything he accomplished. I think it's a fantastic thing that the Heat are doing, well deserved. Big O, let's see, what else do we have here? Come on, man, Ray Allen was on his last legs. Carlos, who hit the 3 against San Antonio? Enough said. Okay? Carlos says, Jimmy at this point is better than Ray Allen was when he was here. You're not understanding what I'm saying, my brother. Did you understand what I said? See, sometimes some of you out there, like Carlos, you hear whatever the hell you want to hear. I said that if you had the big 3, who would you rather have as a 4th? Ray Allen or Jimmy Butler? Remember what league you're in. You need to shoot, buddy. Do you understand that? Jimmy Butler is not the guy that you want complimenting the big 3. It's Ray Allen because he does the thing you need him to do on a consistent basis, my brother. That's the part you got to listen to people. Of course, Jimmy Butler, as a number one for the Heat right now, Jimmy Butler's better than Ray Allen. Duh. But go back, rewind. It's on YouTube, bro. You can rewind. I said, as if you had the big three, you'd rather have Ray Allen than Jimmy Butler as your fourth guy. I'm not. I that's pretty self-explanatory. You can play defense with everybody else, just like Jimmy. Jimmy's not this, oh my God, he's this stopper. He's Gary Payton in his fifth year or something. No, dude. He's a good defender, but it's not like, oh my Lord, I got to have him on there because he's a shutdown guy. No, bro. Give me Ray Allen as my fourth guy on the big three. Man of 1,005 holds. Morning, Big O. Glad to see Bam becoming a complete player on both sides. Jimmy can't be taking those shots. They don't have a lot of guys. It is what it is. Should have given the ball to Bam to close out the game. Also, I do agree that Jimmy won't be an all-star anymore, but the development of Hero and Nunn, plus hoping Bam gets better, it may not be much. We don't know, Carlos. We don't know. That we'll find out. Time will tell. And Nunn, I'm not ready to call like he's going to be a future all-star or anything. Not yet. He's not efficient enough as a shooter. He needs to be way more consistent as a shooter. Yeo Wendy Torrance says, Big O, you're the man of South Florida radio sports. Would not want to listen to anyone else. Do you have a Miami Dolphins podcast by any chance? Giovanni from Colorado. Giovanni, we talk Dolphins all throughout the show. Every show, there's something. So if you go back and listen to the podcast on SoundCloud, if you don't have it, subscribe to SoundCloud because all of this is podcasted. Every day, Bill breaks the entire show down audio-wise, okay? John helps out on the video side and breaks a couple of segments down. But on the audio side, you have everything. If it's just a music segment, he'll put it down just like AC/DC or whatever. That's it. It'll be about AC/DC. If it's Heat and Dolphins, whatever, it'll be a Dolphins. So go back to our podcast, and you'll see in the last week, there's so many Dolphin segments in there. You'll be able to get your Dolphins fix, my man. Carlos Alvarez says, okay, my bad-o. There you go, baby. All good. Go Gators, hello. Premier Reviewer says, hey-o. I'm hoping the Finns don't move up in the draft, but instead either stay where they're at or move down. I think that could be a possibility. I don't want them to move up either, man. There's nobody to move up for. Again, I'm not crazy about I don't want Tua. I told you guys already because I think it's going to be a waste of a pick because I think he's just going to break down. We're going to wait a year and a half to see the guy play to end up breaking down after you draft him. Because you're not really going to see him until 2021. You draft him in April, and you won't start knowing anything about him till like October of 2021. Because he's barely going to play, if anything, in 2020. So I'm not a Herbert guy. But if they draft one of them, I can understand. I'm not going to agree, but I get it. Whatever. Get somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But if they move down and get more picks, I can see that too. Although I really rather stay at 5 because I know I'm going to get an awesome, outside linebacker, pass rusher, shutdown corner, tackle. I'm going to be able to get myself a really, really good player at number 5 that is going to be, barring injury, of course, with the team for a long, long time. All right.
I love the idea of one of these other teams getting desperate for that quarterback and trading out of 5 and going back and getting another number 1 for next year. I love that idea.
Yeah. But then again, if they draft Isaiah Simmons, you'll love that idea too. Right?
The guy is able to play linebacker, corner, or safety. Okay?
Well, but you said the key thing, dude. He's a linebacker that has coverage skills. What do they want? They want guys that can cover too, because they want multiple guys. Okay? The Dolphins are gonna look for intelligence, and they're gonna look for multiple guys that can play different positions. And that's what they're gonna want, because they're gonna want to maximize their roster, because you don't activate 53, you activate 45. I think the new CBA might add a 46 player now, which I still think it's stupid. If you have 53 on the roster, freaking activate 53, bro. Why should a coach look at 9 guys sitting there and not playing for 8 guys, sitting there not playing for you? That doesn't make any sense. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We're out here at Craig Zinn's, Acura Pembroke Pines. Give us 2 minutes. Back with more right here on The Big O Show.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
The world's biggest band is coming twice. Metallica. Headlining the Welcome to Rockville Music Festival. 2 different nights, 2 different sets. The weekend of May 8th through the 10th. Go to welcometorockvillefestival.com for all information. Get your tickets on sale right now. The one, the only Metallica. Go to welcometorockvillefestival.com.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
We're back. We always love it when you come by to say hi. One of our listeners, Donald Lewis, which he came by and now and he finds out more about the podcast than anything else, which is like, it's amazing, right? So it's cool. We'll get him on the podcast because he was like, hey man, I loved you on QAM and all that, and I appreciate all of you that have listened to me throughout the years. On QAM and any other station that I've been all over. So I've been on 790, I've been on 940, I've been on 640, I've been on 560. What else? It's got 1210. What else? Man, I've been all over the dial, all over the damn dial. You know what I mean?
San Francisco, Deportes.
Yes, San Francisco, Sirius Mad Dog. All that stuff. We've done the NFL too, and the college channel too. Also on ESPNU, I think it's called on Sirius. We've done it all. Been all over the place. So I always and I'm still doing satellite on the side. I still do that on the side. I can't do it permanently because this, thank the Lord, this is taken off nicely and has been really, 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 really cool. I love this format. I think listeners and remember, give us a thumbs up, share the broadcast with people, send it to a friend of yours on text, like on the share button. You can send a straight link to the text to somebody that may know about us, and maybe they don't know that we do this every single day. So that would be great. You help us all out. Give us a subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, all of that. We thank you so much. I can't tell you enough about how much I thank you guys for all of this because I never even expected this kind of a response at all. Okay, so I'm telling you, I really love what you guys have done. At 10:30, Mike Mitchell will join us to talk a little XFL. Here we are at Craig Zinn's, Acura Pembroke Pines. Come on out here. We got some great deals going on right now. So come on by and say hi. And let me tell you something. Let me give you a couple of deals right now that they've got going on. The ILX is $209, the TLX is $249, the RDX is $339, and the MDX $349, and only $29.99 do it signing, plus tax tag and registration, folks. And let me tell you something, if you actually own or lease an Acura, like we have in our family, you can get it serviced here because Mike Chan and Jordan Ferber do an awesome job, folks. So come on out here and check it out for yourself at Craig Zinn's, Acura Pembroke Pines, and tell them that Big O sent you. I promise you they will take care of you. They are really, really good people out here. This is our 10th year as they are a proud sponsor of ours. So, and as always, if you visit any of our sponsors, please tell them that we sent you because it's always important that you get the word out. Let's see, what else do we have here? Wendy says, I love your take about Anthony Gordon. I think he's a good prospect. I say drop back and get more picks and get Gordon. Well, Wendy, I've talked about this. I'm not in love with Herbert. I don't trust Tua at all. You're not getting Burrow. So if you don't take a quarterback early, like there was a guy on YouTube last night who goes, well, I can't wait to see the look on your face if the Dolphins don't draft a quarterback early. And I'm like, have you listened to the podcast? I'm not the guy freaking out that you gotta draft this guy now. No, man. No, I don't. You don't reach either. You don't force this issue. And trading up for Tua is forcing it. Drafting him at 5 is extremely risky. And it is what it is. So I don't mind Anthony Gordon later on in the draft. I'm not the guy that's I like Love too. Now, Love I don't take with my 5th pick. If I can take him at 18, then I would. I got no problem with that. But I'm not going to take Love that early because he's still a little erratic. And that part still, you don't know if you can get that out of a player. Big O, you were right on about the Miami Heat. What happened to them? That's 4 straight losses. Explain what is going on. 72 Fins logo, we just explained it to open up the show. Dominic Veluso says, I think if they draft Herbert or Love, they will be sitting as well. I mean, at the end of the day, they still have Rosen cheap. Take a shot. We'll all act like the number 5 pick is the last $5 in our pocket. Yeah, but the difference is, my brother, Tua does not play at all season. You hope he's completely healthy and ready to take a hit by December so you can play him a little bit. Mathematically, you're going to be out of the playoffs. You can play Herbert halfway through the season. You can play Love halfway through the season and get a good look at Love and Herbert. And then that you get them a lot of playing time going into next year. Also, remember this. Games that are out of reach for the Dolphins, whether they're blowing somebody out or they're getting blown out, early in the season, Herbert will come in. Love will come in. That's the difference. Tua will not. Tua will not play in September, will not play in October, probably will not play in November either. So there's no shot at those guys ever getting any playing time. And God forbid, Fitz goes down with an injury in week 2, Herbert gets thrown into the fire. Love gets thrown into the fire. Gordon gets thrown into the fire. That's if they're beating out Rosen, obviously. Tua, he has to sit on a bad hip. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. The more QBs drafted ahead of the Fins, the better defensive player will be available at 5. Trade bait to move down and get more picks. FinFan70 says, or you can get a Tristan Wirfs, you can get a Brown, there's a couple of big-ass linemen that you can also get at number 5. Tommy Tremonti says, hi, Big O Radio. Hello, Tommy. Thank you, sir, for chiming in. Go Gator says, Big O, I think the mandatory 8 inactives is to save money, which is ridiculous. Yes, it is. Whatever excuse it is, it's ridiculous. You're putting your coaches at a disadvantage. Your teams are at a disadvantage. They can't activate as many offensive linemen as they would like. I hate it when there's like 2 linemen sitting there inactive and you've lost half of your line during a game. And you're like, you stupid rules. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Let's see what else. John Santos says, what about drafting an O lineman or defensive lineman at number 5? Well, I just said that. Yeah, definitely. I hope we can see if Rosen has a chance to compete for the starting job. Well, Rosen will have to compete with the youngster, not named Tua, drafted in the offseason and in the preseason. And then we'll find out who's number 2, because it won't be Tua because he can't play early on. FinFan70 says, until we know where all the free agent QBs are going, we can't guess if anyone will trade ahead of Miami to draft a QB. Very good, FinFan. That's why I don't get too much into the hypotheticals, because a lot of stuff hasn't been settled yet. You want to know everybody that's declared. You want to know everybody that's re-signed. You want to know everybody that's been moved and gone to another place in free agency. Then we can kind of start to, okay, these guys did this in free agency and this. Now they might go in this direction in the draft. We might get a better feel for what could happen. I am with you all the way, sir. I love that. I love that text. That's a level-headed text right there. Let's see. Dominic says, that's true. I have just seen the team constantly draft conservatively. Just instead of taking the shot, take it as it works out. You are good. Okay. Wendy says, that's because you keep it real, Big O. Can you see a scenario where we take Tua and maybe Anthony Gordon in the 3rd? Well, Wendy, I've been talking about that for a while now. That if you take Tua at 5, which I'm not a fan of, please take Love, Gordon, Nate Stanley, Davidson, from Princeton. Give me a second quarterback. And I have 4 options as a second. You have 14 picks. So, Wendy, it behooves you to go out and draft 2 quarterbacks. Douglas Anderson says, pass on Tua, trade back if possible, take Becton, Espinosa, and a running back or speedy wide receiver in the first round. There we go. Douglas is working that draft room, baby. Steve Neal says, trust the process. Let's see. What else do we have? Premier Reviewer says, I don't think the Finns will use their first-round pick and get more from a team that wants to move up. Hashtag get more picks. All right. There you go. So those are some of the comments coming in on the YouTube page. And again, remember to give us the thumbs up while you're watching and share the link on social media. Tell people about the talk show so they can get real talk. And remember, we're done here today at 11 with this show. Then we move over to Hialeah Park from 1 to 4. So today we do 5 hours, not 4 hours. Today we give you 5 hours of programming heading into the weekend, which is a beautiful thing. Speaking of the weekend, we will be on Sunday, 3 to 7. So if you happen to have Mad Dog Radio and a little serious action, you can catch us on Sunday, 3 to 7 out there. So we'll have some fun. Monday, we'll be at VSS West Pines. Yeah, we'll be out there with Jose and everybody having some fun on Monday. So if you're in the Pembroke Pines area, 12397 Pembroke Road, VSS West Pines, VSS West Pines on Instagram and Facebook. We will be out there on Monday broadcasting from 11 to 3. All right? So looking forward to that. Tuesday will be an odd show. Tuesday we will be on very early in the morning. We'll be on right around 7:30, something like that, really early on Tuesday. We've got a little some that we're going to do on Tuesday afternoon, evening, and Wednesday. And so Wednesday will be a normal show. Okay? That'll be just a regular, well, maybe not. It might be a little earlier because we got to check out, yeah. We'll check out late. But yeah, it'll be a road show on Wednesday. We'll have some fun. We're going to go have a little fun and work, always work. I work, I grind, and then we have some fun too. You got to do a little bit of both, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway. All right, so we've talked a little bit about the Heat. We talk one of the things that I was talking about on Mad Dog yesterday. You know how the NFL and the Players Union are trying to agree on a new CBA, right? And we talked about this yesterday. I think it's a complete joke that they're adding 7 teams to the playoffs and 14 overall with both conferences. All you're doing is adding more mediocre teams, right? I love how they say, hey, Pittsburgh would have made the playoffs. Well, Pittsburgh sucked. Who the hell wants to see Pittsburgh with the duck at quarterback in the playoffs? How does that make any sense? How does that make it any better? And everything is so watered down now. And so if you give me a moment to be the old man on the lawn, I'm going to do it again. Okay? And I do it because I get some of you out there, especially if you're really young, you have no weight in this conversation. If you're watching this and you're 17 or you're 25 or you're 30 or you're 35, you have no weight in this conversation. You really don't know what the hell I'm talking about as I get into this. But like football, what they're doing is what they've done in basketball and hockey, that they have 30 teams and they have 16 getting into the playoffs. You're watering it down. Teams that really don't belong in the playoffs are getting in is just ridiculous, right? So football is doing that. So last night I'm watching, I'm on doing the show, but then I'm watching the highlights. And I don't know if you saw the college game with Bill Walton, right? And it's funny because have you noticed that all these college games with Bill Walton, it's more about what Bill Walton is saying and whatever crazy thing he's saying. And last night, Frank Caliendo was in the broadcast with them, and he was doing his impersonation of Bill Walton with Bill Walton next to him. It was funny. It was good. Frank Caliendo's a good guy. He's a funny guy. And so the part that I laugh at, and we were getting into this, and I was making the comparison to football, is college basketball. It's funny because college basketball is garbage. It's slightly better than high school basketball. That's what it is. And they try. I love to watch Jay Billis and all these other guys try to sell you about how great this game is coming up and these teams are and all of that. And I'm sitting there going, my Lord, man, we have pulled this amazing bait and switch, you know? Because in my college basketball, Zion Williamson and Ja Morant, who are first-year NBA players, they would be second-year college players coming off the bench. Why? Because Michael Jordan is starting, and Sam Perkins, and Patrick Ewing, and Alonzo Mourning, and I could just go on and on and on. I don't get to see Larry Johnson and George Ackles and Anderson Hunt and Stacey Augmon for 3-4 years together. That's college basketball, dude. College basketball is watching Patrick Ewing and Ronnie Cycli's both loaded Syracuse and Georgetown teams go up against each other for a couple of straight years. Stars, real stars in college basketball. There are no stars in college basketball anymore. There was one last year in Zion. I mean, think about that. But again, if you're 25, if you're 30, if you're 20, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So all you know is this. And you actually think it's like good? Look, the only reason college basketball survives and has somewhat of an audience, not just the school fans, okay, whoever went to that specific university or lives in the town of that university and they watch it casually or whatever, but it's gambling. If it isn't for what the action, college basketball means nothing. The season's garbage. We just kind of wait for the tournament because the tournament is fun still. Now, it's not the same, again, not the same quality. Because it's not. You don't get to see Duke and UNLV 2 straight years go at it like you've never seen basketball before. It's funny. I could get teams like Georgia Tech's Brian Oliver, Kenny Anderson, and Dennis Scott, who had no shot at winning a championship in those days. They would run the teams now off the court. I could get NC State's team with Chris Corciani and Charles Shackelford and Rodney Monroe, and they would run these teams off the court. And it just, the bait and switch that goes on in sports, bro, it's just a joke. And that's what the owners are doing in the NFL. They're just adding a 7th team in the playoffs because it's a money grab. You're not bettering the sport. Now, college basketball, it's not their fault that the rules of the one and done, that was out of their control. It's not like college basketball. Like NBA has manipulated its way to 16 teams, watered down the competition, watered down the playoffs, all that. The hockey has done the same thing. 30 teams in the league, 16 make it, they watered it down, whatever. That's under their control. Football does it too. And baseball now to a certain extent has done it also. which baseball, I really loved it because the initial way it was with the 4 teams getting in on each side, it was precious. Okay? I loved it that way. I hate that more than half your teams are getting into the playoffs in major pro sports. It's ridiculous. But it's all a money grab. And we fall for it. And look, I get young people falling for today's college basketball because they don't know any better. And going on YouTube to watch a game for 5 minutes or 20 or an hour, sorry, you're not going to get a feel for what we lived. Okay? All right? I'm sorry. You'll never get to experience the Big East, baby. You lose. I win. Okay? He wins. Any of you out there that are my age, you all win. You know what I'm talking about. People that are my age or slightly younger in their 40s, I think once you're in your 30s almost, you didn't really get to experience it that much. This has been going on for 20 years. What were you, 10 years old? Give me a break. So the people that are a little older, they know exactly what I'm talking about. They're sitting there going, damn, I'd like to argue with O. I'd like to have I can't. Of course you can't. Because you can't. It's impossible. Can't do it. Because it's not the same anymore. There are no, college basketball was littered with stars. It wasn't just Zion. No. Littered with stars all over East Coast, West Coast.
Go Syracuse, St. John's, Georgetown.
No, Villanova. Just Villanova. That's why I said that. Give me the Georgia Tech and NC State teams who had no shot at winning titles, and they would crush all these teams. Crush them. It's just bait and switch, man. That's what this is, man. It's all big business. Let's see what we can generate in revenue. Hold on, what? Another playoff team. And then that 7th playoff team, that city's excited. They sucker you into buying the hats, the shirts, the tickets, all that stuff. Money grab. But you're not doing anything for the game. Let's water it down. Chase one says, agree. Big O misses the Brock Marion days. Yeah, those were, I don't miss Brock Marion, but I miss those days. Okay? Right? I mean, I got to be honest. Brock Marion was a jerk to cover. Like a first-class jerk. Okay? Pat Surtain, awesome. Sam Madison, awesome. Dealt with them every day. Those were the teams I covered. Zach, Jason, Tim Bowens. Tim Bowens was an intimidating dude in the locker room, right? And we would have some fun with when we would get newbie reporters that would walk in. Tim was an awesome dude, right? But you had to get to know Tim in order to approach him and have a conversation with him. If you didn't know Tim Bowens and he didn't know who the hell you were, he would give you that ogre-like look and one answer or whatever, and you'd get the message, right? And it wasn't in a rude way, but it was in a way that he kind of was telling you, here's your answer, get the hell out of my face, please. Okay? As nice as you can say it that way, that was Timbo. Because you got the message, right? And so we would have fun. Because, now you brought up Brock Marion. But Brock was just an ass. No matter what, Brock was an ass all the time. He was hard to deal with. He made it difficult on people to cover him. Okay? And I'll stay to that story to this day because I dealt with him every single day. He was just a horse's ass. Okay? Decent player, horse's ass. But Timbo is a great guy, right? But you had to know him. So every time we had a rookie reporter, writer come in, and Timbo, obviously, you're talking about one of the more impactful players on the team, the guy that Zach Thomas is praising in every press conference, right? Because you can watch almost any press conference of Zach Thomas, and whatever game he had 9, 10, 15, 27, 46 tackles, he'll tell you the reason he had those 9 tackles or the 47 tackles man, I got to thank Timbo in front. Because, man, if without him, he doesn't let me do Zach was just the classiest dude in the world. And so with Timbo, if you didn't know him, we would tell the new writer, the new reporter, oh, hey, man, how come nobody's talking to Timbo? Oh, no, we already did. Why don't you go over there and talk to him, man, and get what you need? We're fine. Because sometimes guys will talk with other guys or women that are covering, and they want to kind of go in a group over to a player and try to get. But if you went on your own, you were kind of like you didn't know what you were going to get. You know what I'm saying? So we would send Timbo, and then we would just sit there and watch. And Timbo would give them their one answer and kind of look at him like with a serious face, because Timbo was effing with you, right? He was like a gentle giant, you know what I'm saying? But he was one of those guys that didn't let you into that circle until he knew you and could trust you. Once he knew you and could trust you, then he would talk. I was one of the few people that would get interviews with him. Like, I could sit down and do a couple of minutes with Timbo, but I got along great with Timbo. That's different. But again, I was in the locker room all the time. I got to know him. But now you brought up Brock Marion. That's what comes to my mind when you tell me Brock Marion. That's what comes to my mind. Jerk. Just like you tell me Moises Alou, the biggest jerk I've ever dealt with in the history of sports. And I'm sure he doesn't care, but whatever. Let's see. Ooh, we are late. 1 hour down. Hour number 2 is next right here on the Big O Show, live from Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
The world's biggest band is coming twice. Metallica. Headlining the Welcome to Rockville Music Festival. 2 different nights, 2 different sets. The weekend of May 8th through the 10th. Go to welcometorockvillefestival.com for all information. Get your tickets on sale right now. The one, the only Metallica. Go to welcometorockvillefestival.com.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Yes, it is.
This is the Big O Show.
All right, welcome back here at Craig Zinn's, Acura Pembroke Pines. Love it. And thank you all for tuning in. FinFan70 says, you have to be disciplined and follow your draft board. There you go. That's what you got to do. Peter says, you're kidding, right? Now you're starting at 9 a.m.? Peter, we start at 9 a.m. every Friday, bro. Every Friday we do this. We do 5 hours on Friday. Most days we start at 11 to 3, okay? But on Fridays, we have 9 to 11 and 1 to 4, okay? It's 5 hours on Friday. We work for a living here, bro. We work for a living. But remember, it can all be podcasted. So it is all podcasted, so you can listen to it at any time. If you miss it, you go to SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. Okay? Mike Monaco from the Bronx says, good morning, Big O. My friend CAC says, what's up? CAC says, what's up? Is that a joke? Did I say something bad? I don't know what that means. You gotta explain that one to me. I have no idea. I have no idea what that means, but we will have some fun. We will talk a little XFL here at the bottom of the hour with Mike Mitchell. I'm looking forward to it. Have a little fun with Mike and talk a little XFL. How many of you are on board? Are you watching any of the XFL? Are you interested at all in the XFL? I've enjoyed it, actually. And when I'm not, I record them all. So just in case if I can't see it live, then at least I'll catch it later on. But I got to say, I've really enjoyed watching the XFL. It's been fun. Union says players will get $100 million more in 2020 if they accept deal now. And these owners, these owners are just playing these guys like the fools that they have been for many, many years. I saw where J.J. Watt, but again, he makes a lot of money. It's like what we told you. There's so many players that are only around for 2, 3, 4 years that they don't care about trying to get the best deal. They just want to get their money now and get the hell out. That's what they're doing. But I tell you, if the players fall for this, you get what you deserve, man. You're not willing to sacrifice. You're not willing to actually put yourself in a position, to benefit now and long term. Problem is, it's going to take some ugly moments to do that, and they're not willing to do that. So we'll see. All right, the Kings beat the Panthers last night, 5-4. Panthers will be back in action tomorrow night in Vegas. Now, unfortunately, and I talked about this at the beginning of the year with the Florida Panthers, there is no more attaboys. There's no more, hey, great effort. There's no more moral victories or any of that crap with the Panthers. Okay? It's about production. And you got to be better than you already are. You're already underachieving. Okay? So I know that they won the last 2 games but unfortunately where they're at, they got to do a lot more, man. And they got to win a lot more. And it's sad. I hate that I'm at this point already with the Panthers. I hate it, man, because I really want them to succeed. I really want them to become champions. It would be a lot of fun in this town. I had a blast in the 90s when they got to the Stanley Cup. It was a gritty team. It was fun. You knew that they weren't better or were going to beat the Colorado Avalanche, but the accomplishment was so amazing at that time. And so to me, that's why when I look at this situation, it just depresses me, because the owners have opened up the checkbook. They've signed all the players that the general manager wanted, and they just don't have the team, man. They just don't have the team. It's a shame. And Dale Talon, a guy that did a phenomenal job in Chicago, has done a mediocre job here. Just an absolutely mediocre job. His teams have made the playoffs twice in 9 years. And we'll find out if they make the playoffs this year or not. But in the end, like I've said, making the playoffs is bogus. That's not enough. It's about making a run in the playoffs. And if you can't make a run, then the season doesn't mean squat to me. And here's the worst part about the Panthers. What's the future? I don't know. How much better can they actually get? They're not going to get more physical. They're not going to get any tougher. You are what you are. You're tough at 19 or you're tough at 29. Toughness shows. And they're not. So where's the ceiling? Is it the roof, like Michael Jordan says? Because if the ceiling is the roof, then that's sad. I'm kind of a sky's the limit guy. Air Jordan used to sky. He wasn't doing it under a ceiling. I think he went a little higher than that. So did Cheech and Chong, but that's a completely different kind of high.
Last night, watching that. And looking at the standings. Sorry to say, the last 3 teams we played are like 2, 3, and 5 worst in the NHL. Not just their conference.
Yeah, mediocre.
In the NHL. But in the course of the game, and we're in the second period going into the third, and blah, 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 and we are 9-3-1 since January 1st on the road.
Right, yeah, but a lot of crappy teams.
Second to Tampa, and we're only 2 behind Toronto.
But go look at those wins.
Hold on, stay with me. And we're only 2 behind Toronto, and we got the tie. We could go to 4 or 5, and we could actually, if we keep playing the way we are, we could get to the 4th spot, have a home, and we're playing well on the road, which bodes well in the playoffs, get it going, the way we were in the beginning of the season. and we end up losing to them.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is the second, third worst team in the league, and we just like.
It's what they are.
Like there was
and
this
not only
hope
that,
for a second,
and you allowed 5 goals.
yeah.
Okay, not only did you lose, you allowed 5 goals. And
You know
that's
what
why-
was scary? The
even-
beginning of the
even in
game.
that
The
streak,
beginning of the game.
Listen,
the kid-
even in that streak when they were winning some games against mediocre teams, they were
Right.
allowing too many goals to them too.
Oh yeah, we were coming back 3 goals down, and we
People
had
don't-
some incredible comebacks.
People don't look at the reality. They just look at the overall thing, and then they don't look deep into what you're actually doing.
Look, I should have known
Not
better.
impressive.
That kid, his first shift, starting, first shot, and he scores against us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a frustrating team, man. It really is. And you thought, okay, Hall of Fame coach, stud goaltender. Yeah, do we keep talking about what Dale Talon did in Chicago? Like, that stuff already makes me sick. Like, we're a decade in. I don't care what you did with Chicago already, bro. What you did with Chicago now seems flukish. You know that, right? Because either you're a great general manager or you're not. Correct? I mean, that's what you're supposed to be, right? Okay, so let me follow Pat Riley. Pat Riley is in the shadow of the Lakers, wins 5 titles. He travels to New York and becomes the coach and the general manager of the Knicks, right? And I know that they had a GM in place, but he obviously built up the Knicks. They even, got to the playoffs, had a lot of success. Obviously could not win a championship because stinking Michael Jordan was stopping everybody. But those Knicks teams were pretty damn good. And when he left, what he left in place, Little Van Gundy rode it until it eroded. He wrote it till it eroded. But it was Riley's, culture that he left in place. Then he comes to Miami and instills the culture here. And they win titles. Isn't that what a good general manager is? Dave Dombrowski, let's see, builds up the Montreal Expos. Should have gone to the World Series in 94. I know if you're 25, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Then he comes to the Marlins. Wow, he built up the title in 97, and he left the guys in place for 2003. Then he goes to Detroit. Perennially, they suck. He builds them up. They got to a World Series. I'm pretty sure that they didn't win it, but they became a different team. They were winning at least, right? Then he goes to Boston, and they win there. And wherever else he goes, he'll go. Theo Epstein builds up the Cubs, builds up the Red Sox, wins titles in 2 places that haven't won titles in 200 years. I mean, if you're a good general manager, you're a good general manager wherever you go. So what's Dale Talon's excuse? I mean, please help me out here. I need to know. Because I've watched coaches go to different places and build it up. General managers go to different places and build it up. So where's Dale Talon? Help me out, please. Help me. The man has had 10 years. How many more? Is this the Ryan Tannehill plan? Is that what Dale Talon's on? The Ryan Tannehill plan that we got to keep waiting and keep waiting and keep... Don't worry. No, this is the year he turns into a quarterback. This is the year Dale Talon proves he's a really good general manager. Because he's not. I mean, how much more, bro? How much more are you going to rest on your laurels? How much more are we going to write, talk about it on TV, on radio? Dale Talon was great in Chicago. I don't give a rat's ass about Chicago. I don't care what you did with the Blackhawks. What are you doing for me? What are you doing for my team here in South Florida? That's all I care about. I ride and die right here. I care about my Dolphins and my Canes, my Golden Panthers, my Owls, my Heat, my Hurricanes basketball, men, women, you name it. I love my Florida Panthers. I love my Miami Marlins. I love my Inter Miami. You name it. I ride and die with South Florida sports. Everybody knows it. That's all I care about. Don't tell me about what you did then. Show me what you can do for me now. And you've had 10 years. 10 effing years, Dale Talon. Come on. If you're a good general manager, you will prove it in multiple places. I've seen it on multiple sports. I just gave you a couple of examples. What is Dale Talon's excuse? Because he's done nothing here. Think about it. 10 years, 2 playoff appearances, possibly 3. What is that? Tell me, what is that? What are you going to mention? Huberdeau now, and you're going to mention Barkov, and you're going to mention Trocheck? Big deal. What has that produced? There's nothing to brag about with the Panthers. It's like, could Dale Talon go to another city and actually sit down and brag about what he did in Florida? Think about that. Dale Talon walks into your office, and he, let's say he wants to work for Toronto, right? So the owner of Toronto is going to go, well, Dale, you did great in Chicago. What happened in Florida? They gave you all the money. You signed all these young guys to long-term contracts. You made all the moves you wanted to make, any trade you wanted to make. You signed a goaltender to a ridiculous contract. What are you doing, Dale? Show me. I don't know. Tell me. At one point or another, you got to prove that you're the guy. And right now, I got to tell you, you know that Dale Talon is turning into one of the biggest busts in South Florida history. Jimmy Johnson, I believe, made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years. Am I correct? At least he was here a short time, but 75% of the time made the playoffs. I know he bombed out in the playoffs, and they were never special. So it was a bust for Jimmy here. He failed here. He didn't succeed here. So what's Dale Talon? I mean, come on, man. As the saying goes, you got to crap or get off the pot. And if I'm the owners, I got to look at that guy and say, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing here? What have you done here? And I got to tell you something. If you're the owners, you also have to question yourself and say, we've kept this guy here 10 years. I think we made a mistake. That's where we're at. So I'm not into great effort. I'm not into moral victories. I told you this at the beginning of the year with the Panthers. The gloves are off. They're off. I'm done. I'm done with Dale Talon. And you know what? If this continues at the end of the year, the owners need to be done with Dale Talon. You had your chance, man, and you failed miserably. All right? Man, I might have been worried about sweating or something. I should have brought my sweater.
Actually, I don't know if you noticed those clouds, but they're going right and the other ones are going left. This is pretty nasty.
Yeah. It's weird, but yeah.
This is one of those.
But it's dropped like.
I want to.
It's dropped like 10 degrees.
Well, it started to rain.
Yeah.
And the white and the gray like that with the black clouds, low flying. Let's develop a tornado.
Yeah.
This is nasty.
Why you got to go with tornadoes, bro? Why you got to do that, bro?
Well, look at
It's
those
bad enough.
clouds.
It's bad enough I got to deal with Dale Talon. Now you give me a tornado, man. What's wrong with you?
I'm just saying, keep your eye out there, man.
Sky, bro. I got to deal with Dale freaking Talon, and now this guy brings in tornadoes. If a tornado happens, it's Bill's fault, not mine. Don't blame me, okay?
No. That's an act of God.
You brought it up.
I'm just
No,
acknowledging what's going on out there.
You brought it up. You meteorologist. You terroristic meteorologist. Mike Monaco says, good morning, Big O. My friend Cac says what's up. You still haven't tell me what CAC is, okay? I want to read it again so you can tell me what CAC is. I have no idea what that means. Finn Fan says, I've been following the NFL draft for so long, I remember when I ordered my Mel Kiper draft guide. Mel would answer the phone, Visa or MasterCard. Oh, Peter is your show's hall monitor. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Peter's the hall monitor. Yeah. Peter loves busting balls, bro. That's all he does on the show. He just busts balls. Mike says, there it is. One of my friends, John Kaknewski, used to call your show all the time, so we call him Kak, obviously. Oh, I did not know that. Well, tell John I say hi. And share the damn link and tell John to come back. Chase One says, Matt McGloin, Dolphins' new QB. Matt McGloin, oh, God. Can you imagine? Oh, can I say something leading into Mike Mitchell's segment, which we got to break already? P.J. Walker. Okay, I think somebody will give him a shot in the NFL. Not starting or anything like that, but I think he'll get a shot. You know what team should sign P.J. Walker? I'll tell you that when we come back, right here on the Big O Show, live from Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million, whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
The world's biggest band is coming twice. Metallica. Headlining the Welcome to Rockville Music Festival. 2 different nights, 2 different sets. The weekend of May 8th through the 10th. Go to welcometorockvillefestival.com for all information. Get your tickets on sale right now. The one, the only Metallica. Go to welcometorockvillefestival.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. old show.
All right, I promised you we were going to talk a little XFL right now. And Mike Mitchell does an excellent job of covering the XFL for XFLnewshub.com. And you can follow him on Twitter. He's got a nice little handle there, MMXFL Writer. So that's I like that. Mike Mitchell, XFL Writer. That's pretty cool. I like that one. Let's bring him aboard. Mikey, how you doing, man? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my brother. I've had a lot of fun watching the XFL, and I left the last break with the tease. So I'm going to start the tease by giving the rest of the tease right here with you. P.J. Walker has been a revelation in the league. He has been so fun to watch. 7 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks. It's the style of play that the NFL is starting to lean to at that quarterback position, where he uses his legs, but he'll use them to run, but it's not like his first option. The guy tries to pass first, then run, but he's been so fantastic. I think somebody in the NFL will give him a chance. Here's what I say. I say the Seattle Seahawks need to give him a chance, because he's not going to get a starting job in the NFL. But if you're going to put him at a backup, I think he would be the ideal Russell Wilson backup. What do you think about that, man?
Oh, that's the perfect landing spot for someone of a P.J. Walker skill set, without question. And hey, you got a very good coaching staff there. You get to be behind Russell Wilson, and if God forbid anything were to happen to Russell in the middle of a game or otherwise, Walker can step right in and he can function in that type of offense. So, a lot of times with these quarterbacks, it's not just the skill set they have, but it's where they go to play. And it's worked out for Walker in Houston right now because he's playing in a wide-open offense where they're starting 4 wide receivers, so he's got easier throwing lanes and easier running lanes. So it's kind of like if Walker had gone into a situation that was a little more of a traditional offense, he might still have success because he's a talented young player. But he's gone into the right situation, and you bring up Seattle there. Seattle is an ideal spot for him, and I could certainly see him being a backup to Russell Wilson. Without question, it's a very good suggestion there.
Yeah, man. I just think he kind of listen, the last time Seattle had a guy that can move around, all he did was get arrested. I mean, that's the Boykin kid, right? That's the name of the kid that they had the last couple of years.
Yeah, and crazy thing is Boykin actually tried out for the XFL at one of their showcases there, and then he got in more trouble, so he kind of slammed the door shut on any possibility there. So, yeah. Talented guy there, but unfortunately a lot of issues off the field, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, and this kid's a good kid, and I talked about it in my show earlier in the week. The story on how he got to the XFL with Andrew Luck pushing for him and bothering his dad, like, hey, you got to sign him. I thought that was fantastic, Mike. I thought that was a great story, man.
Hey, it's an awesome story, and the strategy behind the XFL is pretty brilliant, actually, because a lot of the practice squad quarterbacks, they make $125,000 roughly a year if they spend the entire season on the practice squad. And then what ends up happening is they sign a futures contract at the end of an NFL season. Now they do not get paid until the first of the league year in March. So the XFL strategy to entice these quarterbacks to come play is say, okay, you're going to make 6 figures in our league, and you're going to get a chance to start and play. So for someone like P.J. Walker and Cardell Jones, who actually turned down practice squad opportunities with the Dallas Cowboys and a couple of other teams, the reason why they did that is not only are they making more money, but they're getting an opportunity to actually showcase their abilities to be a starting pro quarterback. So Andrew Luck, that's a heck of a recommendation there, and they obviously played together. He knows his skill set, so that worked out nicely. Obviously, him telling Oliver and the league was aware of his talents. The scouting department that the XFL has is aware of his talents as well. And June Jones is a fan of his. And obviously, Walker's made a good impression on guys like Matt Rule and others that he played for. So it worked out very nicely. It was a nice connection there that's helping the league, because if the XFL develops young quarterbacks, it's a advertising tool in the future for other young quarterbacks to consider the league.
Yes.
Because they'll sit there and go, hey, look, P.J. Walker, Jordan Teamu, Cardell Jones. They went to the XFL. They got a chance to play. Now, look, they're in the NFL. I'm going to that league.
Yeah, no, there's no, and that's what, see, Mikey, you and I have the right attitude, and a lot of people that are watching the XFL do. The haters, they don't have the right attitude a lot of times because they keep trying to compare it to the NFL, and you got to get past that, dude. You got to look at it for what it is. It's a developmental league. Of course it's not going to be the NFL. You know, that article was out, well, the quarterback play isn't great. Well, the quarterback play isn't great in the NFL either, dude. I mean,
right, and they're being a little unfair with it. You're right, but they're being a little bit unfair with it because you're talking about a league where it's 8 expansion teams, and you have these teams that, you know, they've only played 2 games. And so a lot of these quarterbacks, too, are young guys that don't have the reps or experience. So you get a guy who's struggling like a Brandon Silvers or a Quentin Flowers and all this kind of stuff. Who knows where these players will be by midseason and later on? Yeah, there's a lot of snobs out there. I get it. I love the NFL. The NFL is the diamond standard in sports and entertainment, frankly. So there's nothing better than the National Football League. But if you are a football fan, how can you root against the XFL? Because it's great for football players, for coaches, for innovation.
That's right.
The XFL, in the end, at the end of the day, the XFL is going to make the NFL better.
That's right.
How about that? A lot of people won't like that line, but the truth is it's going to improve the rules. It's going to be a breeding ground for young players to become good professional football players, and it's going to change things for the better as far as innovation. I'm pretty sure in the future you're going to see the NFL a kickoff that's very similar, if not the same thing as the XFL, but you're also going to see the point spreads on the screen during NFL games like you've seen during the XFL games. You're going to see announcers talking about the over-unders during the game, something that doesn't happen during NFL games. So the XFL is good for the football ecosystem. It's good for players. It's good for everybody. Why not support it? And it's a good product. So I think the people that are fair-minded, open-minded should give it a chance. And you're going to see star players come out of this league. And that's only going to help build the XFL for the future because more quality players are going to consider the league because they had trepidation before the XFL started because they didn't know what type of league it was going to be. And now you'll see the talent level in the XFL improve in years 2 and 3 because anybody who's on the fence is kind of coming over to the other side.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, we're talking with Mike Mitchell from XFLnewshub.com. Make sure you check it out there. Great previews, recaps of the XFL, any breaking news, all of that. They've got it there at XFLnewshub.com. And you can follow Mike, too, at MMXFLWriter, also on Twitter. And when you talk about improving football in the NFL, let me tell you something. That kickoff needs to be implemented in high school, college, and the NFL right away. That was a genius way of taking out the brutal collision of the kickoff, but still maintaining the excitement of busting it wide open because of the way the rules are set that you've got to kick it in bounds, or if not, they're starting at the 35. If you kick it out of bounds or through the end zone, and if you block it right, you can house it. We've seen some pretty good returns. I love the twist of player safety, but yet keeping that edge and that excitement from the return in the game. I thought the XFL knocked it out of the park with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, to an outsider looking in, they would look at the XFL and go, look at these guys. They're just drawing up a bunch of crazy ideas and trying them out and see what happens. But that's not the case with the XFL. Anybody who's been following it closely for 2 years now, how did they come up with this kickoff? They watched NFL kickoffs. Why are the 2 coverage units lined up at that specific point in the field? Because as they were watching and studying NFL kickoffs, they saw that the players would end up at that precise spot while they're running 30 to 40 yards down the field. So let's eliminate the full-speed collisions, and let's put them where they're going to exactly be anyway when the returner catches the football. The XFL tested these rules, like all the rules that you see, the kickoffs, everything. They tested them extensively for over 2 years with football players. So it's not just like just a bunch of guys in a boardroom going, hey, how about we make it an 8-point conversion, see what happens. All these things were tested out, and the kickoff, it should be implemented all the way through. Like you said, college, high school, NFL, etc.
I'm with you. And Mike, Somebody's asking to ask you this. I've got my own answers here, but I know you're going to end up answering them all. It says, question for you. What are some of the differences with this iteration of the XFL compared to the inaugural season back in 2001? Go ahead. Knock it out of the park, baby.
Sure, man. The biggest difference is the time that was spent, as I just mentioned in the prior conversation there, the time that was spent studying players, studying rules, studying the game, the research and analysis. You know, they spent over a year just working on the football itself to optimize it for player performance. So, I mean, that just tells you the care and the time that was put into this league. The original XFL, unfortunately, a lot of style, but not a lot of substance.
And wasn't it, Mikey, wasn't it like 40 days they had to prepare the last XFL?
Right, and they rushed into yeah, exactly. They run, and it was listen. The original XFL was innovative for its time. I mean, if you look, they changed. The original XFL changed the way football, pro football, the NFL, and college football are broadcasted. The last 20 years, the sound of it, the look of it, the audio, the visual, all of it was changed because of the original
camera
XFL.
angles. Those camera angles
that
the
if you go
XFL
back and
used.
watch,
yeah,
if you go back and watch an NFL game in the year 2000, and then go back and watch in 2002, or college game for that matter, the entire presentation was changed because of the innovations the XFL, the original XFL had. So the only similarity that I see from the original XFL and this one is in the innovation department. So as far as how it's presented visually, audio, all that, and I think everything they're doing now is going to be implemented in the future. You'll see college and NFL broadcasts adopt what the XFL is doing. Maybe not completely, but parts of it for sure, no question. And so that's the biggest difference is and Oliver Luck has, been the face of the league and the best part of the league. Bringing somebody on to run the entire league that actually has experience running NFL Europe, being at West Virginia, being with the NCAA. This is somebody who's like that was Vince McMahon's best move, was hiring Oliver Luck and then getting out of his way.
Right.
And that was, so that was not trying to disrespect Vince McMahon in any way. He's obviously a visionary, very successful, but that's what he needed to do. And he put the right guy in charge to put together his football operation. And anybody who's following the league closely, even as the Alliance of American Football was revving up and getting ready for their season, you saw all these different signs and indications that the XFL was on the right path. And I would say Oliver Luck and the time that was spent putting the league together, they spent so much time on the smallest little details. That was an indication to me that the league was going to be presented properly.
So, Mike, let me ask you, let's get into this discussion. Who's the best team in the league? Is it the DC Defenders or is it the Houston Roughnecks? Who are you going with right now?
Right now, from those two guys, I would go with the DC Defenders. Just because I think the DC Defenders are a very balanced team. They have a good two-headed backfield of Jarrell Presley and Donnell Pumphrey. Cardell Jones, people are kind of sleeping on his performance thus far. I think he's done really well. The biggest thing in football is the head coach to quarterback combination. You can only go as far as those two, and I think Pep Hamilton has done a terrific job with Cardell. And, he's a proven play caller in college and the NFL, and then working with Cardell's skill set. They're very balanced, and they're playing pretty well on defense, too. Houston, you can make a strong argument for them for sure. They have the most dynamic player right now in the league. They're wide open. I still got to see a little more from them as far as defensively, ability to run the football moving forward. That looks like the XFL championship game right now. Before the season started, I thought Dallas and Bob Stoops would be in the position that Houston is in. There's a little bit of a long ways to go to see how that plays out, but right now I think Houston.
And I got to tell you something. Speaking of Bob Stoops, last week we got to see how McGloin handles adversity and how Landry handles adversity. And obviously McGloin looked like absolute crap. And I'm not talking about his play. I'm talking about how he carried himself. And Landry Jones, while I'm not the biggest Landry Jones believer, but I got to say I had so much respect for him as a man. Because he's throwing some bad passes, and then they ask him about it right away. And unlike McGloin, no pointing fingers. He laid it all on himself. He said, hey, man, bottom line, I got to play better. I got to make better throws. And then he did end up making better throws at the end of the game to win that game. And so to me, I thought that was really cool the way they gave you, a little bit of insight with players, because a lot of times we don't get to see behind the scenes. And we think everybody acts the same and everybody's a freaking robot. No, you got whiners. You got people that cry and complain. You got the guys that aren't tough enough mentally, these kind of things. And now you see McGloin and Landry Jones, and that was a nice contrast.
That was a nice contrast, and that was a gutsy performance. I don't think people realize, Landry Jones only had 2 practices going in. Like the bionic man right now. Not that he's a mobile guy to begin with, but he's playing on one leg. So he's really roughed it out. Normally, he probably shouldn't have even played last week, but the fact that he threw for 305 yards and then made big throws, big 3rd and 16 conversion late in that game, to talented tight end Donald Parham. So, yes, as from a character standpoint, you can see why Landry Jones has such a strong reputation in the football world. And you saw that spelled out. That goes a long way. That performance inspired his teammates. The fact that he's out there playing on one leg and putting it all on himself. And, unfortunate for Matt McGloin, in life we learn a lot about people when they go through adversity. And so he did not have a poor reputation going into last Saturday, but obviously it doesn't reflect well upon him how he acted. He played and acted like a rookie.
Yeah.
So, and for a guy who's a 30-year-old veteran who's actually recommended by Andy Reid to the New York Guardians staff, because Reid worked with McGloin, and for a guy who's had a pretty decent reputation coming out of Penn State and playing in the NFL as a backup, that was just a really horrible day at the office for him. That was not a good look for him, and he's going to get a chance to redeem himself that last week. But the contrast there was quite telling, I think, between Landry and McGloin last week.
I'm with you, Mike. The other innovation that I like, and I think the NFL needs to implement it right away because it only behooves you to do this, when you call a play offensively or defensively, everyone is hearing it. And in loud-ass stadiums, I like that instead of only the middle linebacker and the quarterback getting the play call, in the XFL, everybody's got the headset on. Everybody hears the play, and you don't have to relay it, and nobody's going to misunderstand whatever the hell you're saying or anything along those lines. I think that's a really cool thing that they do.
I love it, too. The thing is, sometimes when innovations come along, we sit there and say, oh, why didn't they think of this before?
Right.
And, it's the year 2020, and so you would figure with the technology that we have in this world that this would have been thought of before. The fact that the XFL is implementing it, I'm sure there's some hiccups here and there. You got to figure out how you keep it fair from a competitive standpoint, where the other team's not listening in or this, that, and the other. You want, obviously, the technology to work.
Mike, you don't have to worry about that. The Astros are not in the XFL. We're all good then.
Yeah, right. So we're in the clear on that one, for sure. But, so I think it's great. Perhaps maybe they can have more of the defensive players have, just try to make it a little more fair for them. But I think it's great. I think it's an evolution of the communication system between players and coaches. It's fascinating in the XFL how they don't cut off the audio access up to the usually in the NFL what they do is they cut it off at that 15-second point. So quarterback could in theory be told where to throw the football while he's looking at the defense with only seconds left on the clock. Fascinating stuff to watch on TV as a huge football fan like I am, and I do love the innovation for sure.
All right, Mikey, I am 6-3 against the spread. Let's have a little fun. Let's pick our games this week. Let's start off with the Houston Roughnecks. They are favored by 6 against the Tampa Bay Vipers. Tampa Bay has been pretty bad as it is. Roughnecks favored by 6. I'm going to lay the points here. I'm going to go Roughnecks -6. I think they'll win maybe even by double digits in this one. Your thoughts on this one, because it is in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm alone on an island on this one, and people call me crazy for doing this. But I think the Vipers will cover the 6. I think they're going to lose. The fact that they're home helps. They actually lost in Tampa's 0-2 start, is that they're number 1 in the league in defense. I realize it's only 2 weeks. They've rushed for over 300 yards in 2 weeks. They do have a talented roster. The problem, that's why the biggest odds makers have rated them so high as far as odds of winning an XFL championship and all that. If they can get some stable quarterback play, I know that's a huge if. I think Tampa will keep this game closer than people think because of their defense and their running game. They'll try to do what St. Louis did last week, which was control the clock. They almost held the ball for 40 minutes. So I think that two-headed backfield that Tampa has going for them, they're going to do a little running from Flowers as well. They're going to try to control the clock. And an interesting matchup with June Jones going against his mentor / friend Jerry Glanville up in Tampa there on ABC Saturday. So I think Houston will win the game. Obviously, they're better right now, but I think Tampa's going to keep it close. I'd say they'll lose by 4. I don't know, 24-20.
Glanville's such a badass. He has 2 headsets on. I mean, that's just. I mean, nobody's like Glanville. He's got 2 mics going on. That's so G. I mean, it's just awesome. All right,
one of a kind.
We got the Dallas Renegades. They are favored by 4.5. Again, another favorite on the road at the Seattle Dragons, which, by the way, congratulations to the Seattle fans. They have freaking rocked the house, 29,000 last week. Dallas Renegades minus 4.5 on the road against the Seattle Dragons. What do you think, my friend?
You know, as long as Landry can stay healthy, I think will favor Dallas in this game. I think they'll win. It's a tough environment, though, for Dallas to go on the road, especially in that environment in Seattle. I just think from the quarterback matchup aspect, I would take Landry Jones over Brandon Silver. Silver's had a few moments here and there, but he's still an inexperienced guy. So I'll take Dallas to win the game there by touchdown on the road. I get 6 points on the road there against Seattle.
By the way, over and under is 44. Are you interested in any of that?
Interesting. You know, the weather is always a factor there in Seattle that could affect how much scoring is actually going on. I'll say they go over. I'll say they go over on that one. I'm not sure of a particular score, but I'll say they go over on that one. I think Seattle's offense will be a little bit better this week, and I think if Landry's healthy, they'll only get better moving forward with Hal Mumme. And that running attack was really impressive last week. Seattle has a good one themselves. They have a good backfield as well. But I think it'll be a close game, very competitive. I think Dallas will win by a touchdown, 28-21. Will that cover it, I think?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm with you. I like the Renegades. There's only one thing I don't like about that offense. It's almost like every drive is 12, 14 plays, and you're asking to be so perfect on, you need more big plays in that offense, because that's one of the things that I did pick up with Hal and that offense is that, man, it's just it's a prodding offense. They got a lot of underneath crossing routes, shallow routes, kind of staples of the air raid. I think the big thing they're missing from their offense is the wide receiver Jazz Ferguson. He hasn't debuted yet. He's a very talented guy. He transferred from LSU and had a huge season his last year in college there, 6'5". He's kind of like a DK Metcalf type clone. So, and he was making big plays in training camp and during their scrimmages there. So if they can get him and the Jeff Badette on the outside who has 4.2 speed, they need to utilize him better. They can start making big plays. I agree with you. That team, if Landry Jones can stay upright, that team has potential to get better as the season goes along on offense. And if they get those 2 receivers clicking and start making some big plays downfield, they can be really good. New York Guardians, who absolutely suck. They must be the sister of the Jets. They are visiting the St. Louis Battlehawks, and the Battlehawks, bro, with the biggest line of the week, 9.5. And I know that the trend in the XFL has been take the dog, take the points. That kind of helps you out a lot in some of these games. Are we doing that in this one? How do we look at this one? Because, man, 9.5 points is a lot of points, but, boy, the Guardians suck.
Yeah, you got 2 teams here that have the same exact record at 1-1, but they can't feel more different. I mean, St. Louis has been so impressive the first 2 weeks of the year on the road in Dallas and in Houston. I'm taking St. Louis. It's just this would be a difficult spot for any XFL team to go into St. Louis with that environment, that atmosphere, and to try to win. New York's going to have to try to survive that early tidal wave because that crowd's going to be amped up. And so if they can hang in there and not go through a blitzkrieg there by the Battlehawks, they can maybe make the game competitive and have a better showing than they had last week. But I just think St. Louis is going to control the game. The environment's on their side. They'll probably win 26-10, thereabouts.
That's why. So you and I are the same, dude. I love the under here because they helped me out last week. I also took the under in their game because they got blown out 27-0, but that came in beautiful on the under. It's 40.5 right now. That's the bet I really like here is the 40.5 under. What about you? It sounds like
I agree with you.
Okay.
I like it too. I like it because St. Louis likes to play ball control and run the football.
That's right.
So that usually lends itself to less scoring. You know, the only thing that could hurt you on that kind of bet is if McGloin's throwing interceptions for touchdowns like he did last week. So make it giving St. Louis easy, quick scores. But it has the feel of like a 26-10 grinded out, easy victory at home.
I'm with you. All right, DC Defenders, one of the other two best teams in the league. We talked about Houston and DC Defenders. They are at the LA Wildcats. And by the way, the Wildcats game last week was one of the funnest games of the first 2 weeks so far. DC Defenders are -8 at the LA Wildcats, and the over and under is 44. Your thoughts on that one?
You know, I think LA, as long as they have Josh Johnson, and you saw he was rusty a little bit last week, but once they got to that fourth quarter, they started having a lot of success. Johnson and Spruce there developed a very nice connection. So that was an exciting game, as you said. That crowd was awesome. I think LA's got a shot to pull the upset. I think they'll keep the game close. I know DC, I think, is a better football team. Obviously, going on the road is a big factor. But I think this will be a close one. I think 26-23. I think DC will win the game. I think LA, obviously, they aren't great right now. They're on 2. But I think as long as they have Josh Johnson, they're going to be in every game. They're going to have a fighter's chance. I'll take them for the cover.
I like it too. I like the cover also with you in that game. I think that's a fantastic call on your part because I think the Wildcats will keep it close, even though the DC Defenders have been really, really impressive. And by the way, for the haters out there, because they were talking about there was a little bit of a ratings dip and all that stuff. Going back to the Seattle game, they compared the opener, which was Seattle, and then they compared it the following week with the same broadcast that wasn't Seattle. And I think that that's kind of where you had a little bit of a ratings dip because the Seattle market and all that, they just happen to draw more fans. If they're drawing them in the stands, they're also drawing them on television. But what I love is there was a follow-up article yesterday that talked about how the XFL on Saturday outdrew the NBA. Okay, the NBA doubleheader on Friday night drew 1 million, and the XFL drew 1.4 million. So for the people that are talking about hating, ladies and gentlemen, 1.4 million means you're going to get TV contracts. You will stay on television if you are able to draw these kind of fans. And if you're outdrawing the NBA in the second week, as you and I know, the second week of these leagues, the dip is usually 90 degrees. I mean, it is bad. It was not for the XFL last week. In fact, they did a really good job with the ratings.
Yeah, and, like the ratings projection by the networks, because in 2020, the TV ratings landscape is completely different. So they really, it's considered a win if you average 1 million viewers on cable and if you average 2 million viewers or even 1 million viewers on an afternoon time slot, that's considered a victory. I don't think the expectation level is very high. And people got to remember, this is a first-year league competing against established sports leagues. So for them to compete with them and to beat them, as you mentioned, that's extremely impressive. I know it's still early in the game, but talking about a first-year league that's only played 8 games. So, so the product can only get better, and then hopefully people are more receptive and open-minded to it. Because I, as a football fan myself, I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to watch games.
I'm with you. By the way, how many of these interviews you've done with the radio host that actually really follows the league or just ask you some general ask questions?
I wanted to, at the open, I wanted to thank you for being so enthusiastic about the league. And yeah, like you mentioned, oftentimes when you do these radio podcasts, etc., you get a lot of generic questions like, well, what's the kickoff like? Or what are they going to do on punts? That kind of thing. And so to actually be on a show like yours, where you're really enthusiastic and into the league, it's awesome. And I wish there were more outlets that were into the games and the players the way you are, instead of just focusing on the league aspects, like what's the rating, what do you think about this location, this, that, and the other. So I love what you do, and the Big O shows doing an excellent job covering the league for sure.
No doubt, my brother. Well, because on our show we actually watch the games, okay, all the games. That's how we talk about them. We don't pick up, we don't pick up the newspaper anymore. But go to the web, read some article, and then go off somebody else's opinion. I've never done that in my life. I'll never do that. I watch it and then I'll talk about it because that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, that's a peek behind the curtain in the industry. A lot of people talk about stuff that they don't even watch.
Right.
So,
I know.
Yeah, they'll have a full opinion on a Brewers game and haven't watched one in weeks. So, yeah, and that's because there's only so much sports programming out there. But I think a lot of people out there need to reserve their opinions unless they're actually, watching these games or watching these teams and following. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and you can see there's enthusiasm building around the country, like people actually getting into the game for players, which is important for leagues like this.
I'm looking forward to it this weekend. Follow my man Mike Mitchell on Twitter, MMXFL Writer, and, of course, the website, xflnewshub.com. You'll get your previews, your recaps, all your predictions, all that stuff there. Mike, thank you for taking some time, my brother. I know we're going to do it again.
I love it. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
You got it, my brother. Be good. There you go.
You too.
Mike Mitchell, man. Good stuff there. That's an excellent interview. It's a lot of fun. I'm telling you. Give it a chance. If you're a football junkie, if you're not, you probably won't be able to get into it, okay? Because you got to drop the elitist attitude, okay?
You can't go in with any preconceived notions. Man.
Oh, hey,
just watch.
Yeah, Tom Brady's not in this league, okay? Neither is Pat Mahomes. You have to understand that, okay? It's a developmental league. So you're kind of looking for diamonds in the rough. And by the way, I forgot to ask him while he was talking about the defenders. The Spruce guy, that guy is going to get an NFL deal. Somebody's going to give him a shot. The Spruce guy, the receiver, the big receiver.
Yeah, the receiver, for
he
sure.
is so perfect for this league where he can play that hybrid H-back tight end type thing. He's a big receiver type, playing in the slot. He runs routes, can catch everything. That's another guy, not just P.J. Walker, but Spruce, I think, also gets an invite to a training camp. Again, I'm not telling you these guys are going to go start in the NFL or anything, but they will get an invite, some of these guys. And that's kind of what you want out of this league. If you're this league and one of your guys moves on in the NFL, that's a badge of honor is what it is, because you scouted a player that fell through their cracks, you found them, and then they picked them up after. That's what you call scouting. That's what you call developing and opportunity. And Mike kind of mentioned that as the league goes on, if it does finish this year strong, other guys that maybe were kind of questioning it or guys that want to freeze their asses off in the CFL are going to come back here instead and play here and play in the XFL. All right, let's wrap it up here. We thank Mike Mitchell. Of course, we thank all of you. We will be back in 2 hours at 1 o'clock. We'll be live at Hialeah Park from 1 to 4 with plenty more sports talk. The real sports talk you don't get anywhere on the dial in South Florida. See you later.
It's actually less than 2 hours.
Yes, it is.